Widek welcoming you to another replay, this time from the recent 2013 Russian Star League Ritmix tournament. And this time on Kiru, we have here in the bottom left, spawning as the purple Zerg, we've got Scarlett. And her opponent, spawning in the top right as the green Terran, we've got Strelok. And if you guys don't know who Scarlett is one of the most successful North American players, possibly the most high profile and possibly the best player from North America currently. Doing well in a lot of tournaments. She actually plays in a lot of Korean tournaments as well. One of the few foreigners practicing in Korea, and she says it really does help her to perform better. It's not a surprise when you play against the best. You can learn a lot faster and a lot more. Strelok, on the other hand, has been consistently playing StarCraft for a long time, playing StarCraft Brood War before, and now switching over to StarCraft 2. And he's had strong results. A mainstay on the competitive StarCraft pro scene, as both players are building a very, very common build order. Strelok is getting the barracks on the high ground. Scarlett is opting for the expansion hatchery at her natural. And now Strelok's actually going to go and scout with this SEV. Just wants to see what is happening over in Scarlett's part of town. And he's also going to be putting a command center on the low ground. And that Overlord is going to be able to spot it, but Scarlett has to be very careful here. This Marine is coming out and now is going to target down that Overlord. But just able to hide on this one little rock. Scarlett finding that perfect position for that Overlord. The Marine knows he's hiding there, but with no high ground vision, that Marine is not able to do anything. And it's kind of strange because you can kind of see where he is, but in this game he's not able to see it. Strelok's SEV is able to see the timing of the spawning pool. He also notices there are no extractors, so Scarlett is not going for early gas. That SEV is still hanging out at the natural of Scarlett's base. And so Strelok is going to put down a bunker to protect his expansion command center. Never a bad idea. And he's got both refineries going. And like I said before, Scarlett has no gas. So the supplies are going to be definitely in favor of Scarlett in the meantime, as she is heavily droning up. She's getting 3 more drones and still no Zerglings in sight. Now, there they are. The 2 Zerglings are going to come to the bunkers. Strelok is going to be able to repel this a little harassment force away. Strelok will be getting the common factory behind this, and he should be attaching this to the reactor when it is complete. And then he'll be pumping out Hellions, I suppose. And because Scarlett is just now getting her extractors up and running, she's going to be really far behind in regards to map control. She's starting to put down creep tumors to get that creep spread. And that's very important for Zerg players, but because she opted not to get that early gas, now she's got 2 extractors running, and she's getting 2 more. She's building 2 more, so she'll have a total of 4 very soon here. She still hasn't reached her Zergling speed, and finally that Overlord is going to get popped. But because she doesn't have Zergling speed, these Hellions are going to have free reign. They'll be able to pick off those creep tumors much more easily. And I like that move by Strelok. He lifted the barracks over to this little jutting mountain just to get that high ground vision and pop that Overlord. Because other players, sometimes they forget about that Overlord, and the Overlord is able to see basically everything that you're doing here near your natural, and that can be very devastating And the longer that goes on, the worse it's going to get. So good move by Strelok to pick off that Overlord, reducing the vision of Scarlett. And these Hellions are just hanging out here, and Strelok is not pulling the Hellions in, and the Queens are getting free reign. And now with Scarlett is building her third hatchery as well. The creep highway is very, very good for her. And now with the evolution chamber being built here, this entranceway into the natural is being blocked off, but Scarlett still has to be really vigilant here. And she will be putting down a Roach Ward, and there we go. This entranceway is completely blocked. The Hellions won't be able to get in. Zergling speed is almost complete. We've also got a Viking on the way. And I really like Terran players getting Vikings to pick off stray Overlords. Unbeknownst to Scarlett, there is a drop coming in with 2 Widow Mines, but there's so many Queens here. And that's the thing about having all these Overlords over here. Scarlett was able to see the medevac just a few seconds before it was able to attempt to drop. And because of this Overlord positioning, Scarlett was able to react with no losses. So very strong play by Scarlett, and that's why, as I was saying, getting Vikings as a Terran player can be very important. The Viking is actually just gonna be looking for possible incoming drops into the main. But I've seen other players, especially like Polt, they like to build Vikings and pick up all the stray Overlords. Scarlett, on the other hand, she doesn't have that many Overlords around the map. She just has a whole bunch of Overlords just scouting just outside her main to prevent drops. And her expansion bases. Not a bad position for Overlords. And with the blue flame soon coming online for Strelok, gotta have to be very careful about Hellbats and Hellions, as they're gonna be able to do a lot of damage to those drones. And unfortunately for this Overseer is just not fast enough. This Viking is going to be able to destroy this Overseer. So great pickup by Strelok getting that Overseer. And this Changeling is going to try to make it into Strelok's base. And there's also an attack force of Zerglings and Mutalisks coming in. And Mutalisks love picking on Hellions. And only this bunker has some anti-air with 3 Marines in it. There's actually no other anti-air here. Strelok needs to be very careful here. The bunker is destroyed. Now the Mutalisks are going to be able to penetrate into the natural. The tank is under fire. SCVs are pulled off the line to try and repair, but the Mutalisks are going to scatter just for a little bit of time. Strelok is going to block this off with more supply depots, but these Mutalisks can just easily move over to the main. Have to be careful with this Widow Mine. This Widow Mine is going to be able to... No, the Widow Mine was not able to activate. I think Scarlett spotted it in the last second, so great reaction by Scarlett. Scarlett has built a small 20 supply advantage, and Strelok is going mech, which is a little bit strange. A lot of Terran players don't like to go mech against Zerg, simply because Terran mech play is very slow and bad at mobility, and Zerg is very good at mobility, so a lot of Terran players opt for bio. You know, they get stim. They have medevacs. They're able to jet around and move around the map much more quickly. The Widow Mine is going to be able to destroy 1 Mutalisk. And now Strelok is going to move out here. Has to be careful with this medevac carrying that Thor in there. Able to drop the Thor. And now going to try and box him. But there's also other Thors and a Viking there. So the Mutalisks are taking some damage. The Thor does go down, but there is a second one behind this. And Strelok is moving across the map. Scarlett is going to try and get her 4th hatchery as well. Strelok is still stuck on 2 bases. So he really needs to get his 3rd or do some economic damage to put Scarlett into some pressure situations. Otherwise, she's going to run afoul with all her economic might. Strelok is now in the middle map, destroying the rocks, gonna penetrate in here. Only the Queens are here to defend, and that's not a good situation for Scarlett. The scan does go down. These creep tubers are gonna get cleaned up. The tanks are gonna siege up, but it's a whole bunch of Mutalisks. And unfortunately, with only 1 Thor and 1 Viking, this is not gonna work out very well for Strelok. And now his entire force is completely exposed. He's going to go for a Hellbat drop while this is going on, and he's going to withdraw as well. The Mutalisks are eating away at the entire Terran mechanical force. These two Hellbats are dropped into the natural of Scarlett's base. These drones are under extreme pressure, and a lot of the drones are going to be roasted up here by that blue flame. Able to kill 9 drones, but I don't think that was worth it, as the amount of army that was eaten by Scarlett was significant. Scarlett now has a 50 supply advantage, and Strelok needs to really rethink this. He didn't have enough to deal with those Mutalisks. He's constructing 2 more Thors. Or, yes, constructing 2 more Thors, but the damage is already done. And now with Scarlett on 4 bases, getting more and more extractors, and Strelok still stuck on 2. Every time Strelok uses a unit, that's very difficult for him to get back into the game. The roaches are knocking on the front door of Strelok. Able to pick off a couple Hellbats before Scarlett retreats. And with this Zergling here, actually the Zergling is slightly out of position. The command center will be able to land. Well, the Zergling is roasted immediately, so that is a moot point. So Scarlett has done a very good job, able to get good confrontations and encounters, and she has a 50 supply advantage because of that. And unfortunately for Strelok, he just doesn't have a lot of bases. Now he's on his 3rd, and he's actually getting a planetary fortress. Generally, Terran players want to get 3 orbitals before they get a planetary fortress, but Strelok knows there's lots of units that are going to be streaming in here, so he's opting for more defensive posture, but that's going to hurt him economically over the long run. But here comes the attack from Scarlett. She's going to run all these roaches into the natural, able to get in, even from all those siege tank hits, at the same time distracting with the Mutalisks, focusing down on these Thors. The tanks and Hellbats are going to try and deal with the roaches that are up at the ramp. The supply depot is blown up, so they're able to run up the ramp successfully. But Strelok is evening up the supplies quite a bit, able to destroy a significant portion of the roaches. Also, the queens have been pulled in here. 5 Mutalisks are still alive, and now there's no more anti-air. There are no Thors, and there are no Vikings. The 3rd base of Strelok is also under attack, but the missile turrets are going to be able to scare away the Mutalisks, at least temporarily. So Strelok has been able to hold Scarlett at bay. But this is going to be a huge problem, as the supplies still show a huge advantage for Scarlett. And even though Scarlett has lost so many more resources, it doesn't matter, because now she's getting her 5th base up. She also has her 6th hatchery plopped down. And obviously, I don't have to tell you who's going to win the game if you have 6 bases and your opponent has 3. That's pretty simple. And now with such a large group of Mutalisks, we got 17 Mutalisks flying into the main, able to destroy the missile turrets easily. The 3rd missile turret will go down, able to pick off 1 Mutalisk, and now the SCVs are under fire. There are a couple Thors here, but there's just so many Mutalisks. Able to just get on top of the Thor. 1 Thor does go down. Half the Mutalisk force has been destroyed, but this 2nd Thor is valiant, but unfortunately will get picked apart as well. And now the Mutalisks are in the main base unopposed. Strelok says forget this, I'm not waiting around. He's going to move his Hellbats and tanks out. At the same time, the Mutalisks from Strelok, or from Scarlett rather, is going to be able to pick off that armory and focus down on the supply depots. The Hellbats and siege tanks are now on the creep, and have to be careful when you engage Zerg on creep, unless they're Zerglings, because the Zerglings die in 1 hit from these upgraded Hellbats. And now the drones are going to have to retreat, and Scarlett is going to retreat with her Mutalisks as well and try and reinforce this position. Scarlett's 3rd base is under attack, and now it has been destroyed. It goes down in a few seconds. But like I said before, Strelok's attack force has no anti-air. So with just 6 Mutalisks, now Strelok has to retreat. At the same time, Strelok has sent a band of Hellbats to the top left base, able to destroy lots of Zerglings. Zerglings are no match for these heavily upgraded Hellbats, able to one-shot the Zerglings. Look at that roasted Zerg barbecue. It's really hot. I don't know if it's really tasty, but it is hot. And Mutalisks are being sent in here to deal with the Hellbats. At the same time, Strelok is still stuck on the creep. Got a couple Thors here. But now the Brood Lords are on the way. Scarlett says, the heck with that. I'm tired of you doing so much damage to my expansions. But in reality, Scarlett probably doesn't care that much, as she's got 2 more bases here. She lost 2 bases. Or she lost 1, but she still has 2 more bases. And I don't even think Strelok knows about these bases. You take a look at his vision. He doesn't even know that these 2 bases are in action already. And so Strelok may be thinking, oh, I picked off 1 base. I'm in a pretty good position. So Strelok is not going to be very happy about this if and when he finds out. Strelok able to clean up a whole bunch of creep tumors, and that, never underestimate that. Unfortunately, like I said before, he only has 2 orbitals. And so he doesn't have a lot of scans. And each time you put down a scan, that's another mule you're not getting. So cleaning up creep is going to be difficult. And look at this attack in the top left by Strelok. It was immediately detected because there's so many creep tumors here. And Strelok is not cleaning them up. He doesn't have a lot of energy to spend on scans. He's still going to be able to pick off this top left base, which I'm a little bit surprised about. Broodlings do go down immediately. And now, with extra broodlings from these... The extra broodlings from the broodlords are going to be able to help with this. Strelok able to find the ninja expansions at the south. Scarlett's drones are pulled off the line. Hellbats and tanks have been able to focus fire down that hatchery, so great attack by Strelok, able to pick off another base, and these drones are also going to go down. The splash damage is so significant that your drones are under extreme duress, and now what? I've never seen so many burnt drone corpses. And now they're going to disintegrate and go into the ether. Another great engagement by Strelok. Workers lost are 48 apiece for both players. But Scarlett is still slightly ahead in supply, and actually this depot was down, and now the Zerglings are going to stream into the natural, picking apart these SCVs from Strelok. This one Hellbat should be able to clean this up pretty effectively. The Mutalisk is also destroyed, but you have to remember, at the same time, Scarlett still has this base at the bottom right that Strelok doesn't know about. So she's lost quite a few bases. She's lost 3 hatcheries. She's rebuilt 1. So right now she has 4 bases to Strelok's 3, so she's still ahead on base count. Resources lost, so Scarlett has lost a significantly lot more than Strelok, but Strelok is still not in a great position. He's in an okay position. Supplies show that he has actually taken a supply lead for the first time in quite a while. But look at the vision of all these creep tumors. Scarlett is able to see 60% of the map. And Strelok is still not cleaning the creep tumors. Like I said before, he only has 2 orbitals, so he doesn't have a lot of scan energy. Every time he puts down a scan, that's 1 less mule he can get. And so he has to take a lot of tough choices, but the infestors are out, putting down fungal growths. Scarlett has to be careful here. Her overlords are under attack, and she's going to lose them all. Now she's actually supply blocked. Good fungal growths do go down, and the broodlords are going to be able to do a lot of damage to these Hellbats. So the Vikings, there are just so many Vikings waiting for the fungal growths to take down the Vikings. I don't know if this is going to be a very good strategy. Scarlett's losing all her broodlords. I think Strelok's going to come out ahead on this one. So all the broodlords are picked apart. Resources lost 50% over for Scarlett. And now Scarlett is reeling. Her 3rd base is under attack. The Vikings have landed. In combination with the tanks, these roaches are not going to be able to put up very good defense. And this 3rd hatchery is going to go up in flames. And now Scarlett is 20 supply behind her Terran opponent. A surprising change of events. And unfortunately, these Corruptors are very good against Vikings, but when there's so many and so few Corruptors, they don't stand a chance. The Vikings are still moving around the map looking for expansions. Gonna pick off this lone extractor at the top left. And Strelok still hasn't found this base in the bottom right. Both players are actually reeling. They don't have a lot of economy. But Strelok's economy is actually better as he is mining from this 3rd base, and he does have mules as well. Scarlett at the bottom right doesn't have a lot of drones. It's not even close to being saturated. And Strelok is thinking something is fishy. What's going on here? Able to find the ninja base in the bottom right. But these Hellbats are not going to be able to deal very well with all these spine crawlers. And so Scarlett is going to have to withdraw and recollect all her forces. Scarlett understands this is going to be possibly the last engagement. If Scarlett loses this base, she's not going to have any real mining bases. Her second base only has 3 mineral chunks left. And with so many siege tanks, these spine crawlers are completely defenseless. Infestors are here again, putting down lots of fungal growths. But unfortunately, fungal growths are really a support spell. A support ability. They're not a main attack ability. This isn't Psionic Storm. And it's unfortunate for Scarlett. The fungal growths are going to be able to pick off 1 Viking. But now all these infested Terran eggs are not going to do any damage. And the bottom right base is cleaned up by Strelok. And now Strelok is outnumbering Scarlett in the supply tab 2-1. I don't think Scarlett can come back from this. All she has is infestors. If we take a look at the army composition, literally all she has is infestors. She has 14 infestors and nothing else. It's too bad you can't use creep tumors and make them into something else. And the SCVs are busy repairing all these Vikings and tanks that were damaged by those fungal growths. So Scarlett's strategy of constantly fungal growthing the Terran army might have been effective eventually, but these SCVs are wise to their plan and they're just constantly repairing. And I don't see how Scarlett's going to come back from this. She's still spreading creep. She's able to lock down a lot of these Hellbats. But no units were destroyed. And now Strelok is going to get the bottom right base as well. Scarlett is trying to get her third base up and running. And it's amazing because remember, at one point Scarlett had 6 bases and Strelok only had 3. And Strelok was able to come back. And now all Scarlett has is these 19 infestors. And now she's just going to try and wait around. Looks like she's retreating with the infestors back on creep. And Strelok's okay with that. Strelok thinks he's ahead. He's got so many tanks and Vikings that any ground or air force he feels he's going to be comfortable with. This lone medevac with the Hellbats is going to drop off here. Got to be careful with this infestor. And no, finally the medevac is going to be dealt with as well as the Hellbats. The infestors are going to the bottom right base. Gonna fungal growth down these mules and put down a whole bunch of infested Terrans. And this orbital command is going to go up in smoke, so great pickup by Scarlett, but at the same time Strelok is pushing in, destroyed the third, now moving into the natural. The Roach Warden is finished. It's not like Scarlett was building any roaches anyways. All she needs to do is build infestors apparently. The infestors are going to try and come back, but remember these sea tanks have so much range. Go and try and distract him with some infested Terran eggs. But I just don't see how 19 infestors are going to be able to deal with this. A lot of the eggs are able to get off, able to pick off a lot of the Vikings. But this superior Terran army is going to be able to deal with all those eggs. And now Scarlett GG's. So Strelok with the amazing comeback. Down 3 bases to 6 and still able to come back. So great game by Strelok. And now we're going to have to see if Scarlett can regain the momentum in Game 2.